The water that is bursting out of the spillway here in Kiambere Dam is such a magnificent view for anyone who comes here for the very first time. This, of course, is excess water that can no longer be held here at the Kiambere Dam. It is now falling directly into the Tana River. Once it hits the Tana River, the water is off, flowing downstream to other areas until it ends up in the lower parts of the country, including Garissa and Tana Delta, the areas where flooding has been causing destruction. Kiambere Dam also has underground tunnels built by a construction company from Yugoslavia. Some of the tunnels drilled 30 years ago are close to 3 kilometers away from the dam. Their main purpose is to allow passage of water to the power station where the turbines are located.
They drill down about 20 meters, 30 meters, drilling to know that that rock is sufficient to hold the water of this volume. It's not something that it is done without it is done by people who are experts, not only in the country but even outside. These things were designed with a view of international conventional standards.
While the water continues to spill, fear is a common emotion among a large number of residents of Tana River County.
The change experts are calling the terrible new normal.
When the announcement was made by two cabinet secretaries warning people about the spillage and the consequences of it, it resonated with a number of people in Tana River County, filling them with fear about their future, which was now being threatened by the forces of nature. Was this the beginning of the end of their lives? Would the flooding be catastrophic? While the answers were hard to come by, many chose to pack and leave, but others decided to stay put. They simply had nowhere else to go. Even before the spillage from the 5 dams began, flooding had already started to cause havoc here. Houses were submerged, food crops destroyed, and lives were lost. And the news that more water was heading this way from the 7 Forks dams was no light matter. It has been reported that close to 70% of Tana River County has been destroyed by floods, and only 1/3 of the land is accessible by road.
Hapo nimepanda sukuma lakini imechukuliwa na maji.
Hapa haya maisha yamekuwa magumu kwa sababu 97 tulipata mafuriko kama haya ambayo karibu yatumalize. 2015 2013 tukaja mafuriko kama haya tena yakatukumba.
A visit to the expansive county, which is the size of the former Central, Nyanza and Western provinces combined, reveals what is slowly shaping into Kenya's biggest humanitarian crisis. The majority of the county's 240,000 population is seeking help in 16 IDP camps run by the Red Cross. At least 10 people have been killed by the floods, but engineers at the 7 Forks dams insist the flooding has nothing to do with the spillage of excess water from the 5 dams, at least not now.
Before Kiambere started spilling, said 1 week before, there was flooding at the Garissa and also at the Tana Delta. So when I could hear people saying that KenGen had to pay compensation at that level, it was not correct, because the water has not spilled. The upstream dam, they have not spilled, but there is flooding. Why? Because below Kiambere, we have got 7, 8 huge rivers that are coming from the eastern side of Mount Kenya and the entire Nyambene Hills.
The argument that the spillage from Masinga, Gitaru, Kamburu, Kindaruma and Kiambere dams is a cause of excess flooding in Tana Delta is not about to end soon. Those on the upper side of the Tana River are insistent it is only a myth, while those at the lower end of the river are convinced that they are on the receiving end of spillage that should be controlled. Indeed, there have been plans to control this flooding following the many deaths recorded year in, year out. First, there are suggestions to control the inflow of water right from Masinga Dam.
Immediately after the rains again, when we go to a long spell of drought, we should not experience that. We should be using the utilization of the water. We and the ministry also are working on a pump storage facility and then pumping water from Kiambere up so that wherever the low levels of water, we can be filling Masinga and then generation like that, and then of course allowing what environmentally is required.
There are also plans to raise the walls at Masinga Dam, as well as the walls of the spillway in order to control the spillage at an early stage. The 1.5-meter wall will cost $15 million to construct. But the most ambitious plan is to build the biggest dam after Kiambere, so that all the water spilling down to Tana Delta will be collected and stored. It will be known as the Grand Falls Dam.
When you get the other downstream huge dam that can control those waters set from the 8 rivers, and also the one which is coming through Kiambere, Masinga through Kiambere, then it will be that managed flooding is the one that we are. And the design of Hagard Falls is designed in such a manner that the flooding, the people of Tana Delta, they require flooding because they rely on flooding, but controlled flooding. So the Hagard Falls is designed in such a manner that will be releasing 2 floods per year, controlled, that cannot destroy the life and the livelihood of the people downstream.
TARDA has completed feasibility studies, and the location of the gigantic dam is already agreed on. But the gigantic facility, which is expected to be 4 times the size of Masinga Dam, is already causing friction between officials of TARDA and KenGen.
The original design, when we wanted to do Hagard Falls at the BOT, was through a repumping system. The pumping system, that's what we wanted. But then you found that when the feasibility that was done, we did not do it. So the people who wanted to do it in the ministry, they forgot the files here. They did not take the files so that they can see the original concept of Hagard Falls. The original concept of Hagard Falls is to generate energy through a repumping system. Because when you do a repumping system, the overflow, the spilling water that is going, you are taking it back.
As for the fear raised by many concerning the walls of each of the 5 dams, well, rest assured, the walls are firm, have never shown signs of wear and tear, and since 1981, when the dam started operating, there have never been cracks or leakage sighted on the walls. Meanwhile, the spilling continues, sending the mighty waters downstream to a people still fearful for their safety. Nimrod Tabu, NTV.